Hey everybody, you're watching Sidestep Adventures, and today's video is going to be pretty brief. We're at a stop along the side of the road in very rural Georgia at an unknown Confederate cemetery here. We're going to take a look at this spot and tell you a little bit about it, and I'll tell you why I'm here today, what brought me to this spot. Alright, so there's a historic marker on the side of the road for this place. It says, "Here lie 12 Confederate soldiers known to God, who died of disease and wounds, 1864 to 1865, in the General Hospital, Georgia State Line, located near this spot. Dr. A.P. Brown was senior surgeon in charge of the hospital. Dr. E.A. Flewellen, a prominent surgeon, at one time surgeon of the 5th Georgia Infantry Regiment, and later medical director of the Confederate Army of Tennessee, assisted at this hospital when on sick leave. Dr. Flewellen's house still stands at the rock." And you can see the markers simply say unknown. So I think unknown graves, no matter who it is, are always very sad because that's somebody's name, someone's life story that is unknown and will more than likely never be known. And that's the case with these 12 gentlemen that are here, these sons, fathers, husbands. And you know, likely back then during the Civil War there wasn't communication like we have today. So these people went off to fight in that war and never came home, and their family, their loved ones probably never knew what happened to them or where they were buried at, other than they just never came home. That's kind of sad. However, at least one person who's buried out here was identified, apparently in 2001. This stone says, "One of the 12, Private Thomas J. Finn, Company A, 1st Regiment, Georgia State Line Troops, Volunteer Infantry. He was born in 1828 and died September 1st, 1964. So I think that's pretty interesting that somebody was actually able to identify one of the 12 people buried here. Of course, there's still 11 unknowns, and I'd love to know how they found out that Private Finn was actually buried here, but that's pretty neat to see. But I told you that there was a specific reason I came out here, and the reason is on the Find a Grave website, it lists Solon Wood Mitchell as being one of the people buried out here, and that's completely wrong. Now, what drew me out here is Solon Wood Mitchell was the son of Major Mitchell, whose grave you've probably seen on my channel. If you're not new to the channel, you've seen I did a whole series on Major Mitchell, and continuing to track down his family that lived in this area drew me to this place where it said that Solon Wood Mitchell was buried. And I know that's completely inaccurate because Solon Mitchell died, I believe, in the 1870s. I know it was long after 1864 and 1865 that he died, so there's no way that he's buried here. So I wanted to come to this place and see it for myself and see if maybe someone had put up an actual marker for him or something like that. Personally, I believe that Solon Mitchell is buried at the Major Mitchell Cemetery there. We see evidence of 1870s burials at Major Mitchell Cemetery, sort of that post-Civil War Southern Depression style graves where they would reuse building materials like bricks from houses that were being torn down, and not proper gravestones like we see. So I believe that Solon Wood Mitchell is buried in one of those reused brick gravestones that's out at the Major Mitchell Cemetery. And definitely not buried here. But like I said, I wanted to come out here, look at these graves for myself, and see what was up with this place. But I still think this is a really neat piece of history here. I mean, somewhere around here was a Civil War hospital very near to this spot, and again, it's just pine trees around me. If it wasn't for this historic marker, you'd have no idea any of this was here. Absolutely love this sort of history, and just on the roadside, I always say it is amazing what kind of history you can find just off the side of the road. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next adventure.